Hey, Malibu Pacific Church, Andy here. So glad you joined us with our online service, and we are super excited about what's getting ready to happen for the next 3 weeks here in Malibu and in our church and through our church. We're doing this campaign called Be Rich, which is going to be an extravaganza of generosity in our entire community for these next 3 weeks. So I'm going to share what that is, and we're just excited about what God is going to do in us and through us, and how everybody's going to find out how much God's love is for them. So we're calling it Be Rich, and it's a Be Rich campaign. And I want to encourage you to pick up your Bible or find a Bible or go onto your phone or iPad or right now on your computer as you're listening and turn to this letter, this ancient document that the Apostle Paul wrote to this young pastor. His name is Timothy. And Paul was this guy who had his life radically changed by God's generosity in his life. And he was just like totally transformed, and he became sold out for God because of what God did in him. And he wanted everybody else to find out about the good news of Jesus Christ. And it is good news. So as Timothy is pastoring, this young guy is pastoring this church, Paul wanted to make sure that he addressed this problem in the church, and that was the rich people. That Paul didn't want him just to talk to the poor people or those who are less fortunate, but also have a conversation to the rich people, because he didn't want to leave anybody out. And so he said, Timothy, it's really, really important that you have this conversation with people who are rich and they have stuff, because they don't know how to be rich. All of the books that we have, and if you go into a bookstore or Amazon, it's how to get rich and how to make a lot of money or how to invest the money. The problem isn't getting rich, the problem is being rich. And so he said, you know what, you need to have a conversation with them about how to be rich so they know how to act like rich people. And so he said this in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 17. He said, command those, right off the bat, command them. Command those who are rich in this present world. You got to command them. You got to tell them this, because they don't know how to be rich in this world. They don't know how to behave, what to do. So command them how to be rich. Now, so I want to talk to all the rich people out there, because I would guess if I would ask you, are you rich? I would venture a guess that you would say, no, I'm not rich. My neighbor is rich. My relatives are rich. I know a rich person. I'm not rich. So the problem with talking to rich people is first knowing who the rich people are. So if this is you, raise your hand at home, but I know this probably isn't you. But let me talk to the rich people out there. I've met a couple. And rich people is very, very complex being rich. It's difficult to be rich in our society, especially here in America. There's a lot of complexities. There's a lot of decisions that they need to make. It's not easy. And I think this is why Paul is saying you need to talk to them on how to be rich. So the rich people that I've seen, and I've done a lot of research and study on rich people, they have like extra money. And they actually hire somebody to help manage the extra money that they have, so that, and this is amazing, they have money when they die, and they have somebody help them figure out what to do with that extra money and how to hand it off to their kids and their grandkids. I mean, I know it's crazy, those rich people. I've even heard of some rich people that they have houses, and in their house, they have this little thing that turns a knob. And when they turn the knob, this thing called water comes right out. They don't have to walk 5 miles each way with a bucket on their head to go get water. It actually comes into their houses. I mean, I know, I've done some research on this. It's amazing that it actually comes into their house. And they don't have to walk like 100 yards to go to an outhouse. They actually have these things called toilets in their houses, and they can go to the bathroom inside their house. It's amazing. It's crazy. I know. And I did a lot of research. These rich people that I've studied, they take these things called kitchens that's inside their houses, and they have perfectly good appliances and perfectly great, these countertops. They're steady, they're strong, you can put food on them, they work. They rip them all out and they get rid of perfectly good refrigerators and perfectly good stoves and countertops, and they rip it all out, and they put new ones in and throw that stuff away. I know, it's crazy. I even did some research that these rich people, they have so much food that they put it in this thing called a refrigerator, and they leave it in there for a while, but then after a day or two, they don't want it anymore. So they go buy more food, and then they throw away the food they didn't eat a couple of nights before that. I know, I've done some of my research. And they throw it away and then put new food in it. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I've done some research also. Rich people, they stand in front of this kind of a big room, and it has a lot of clothes and shoes there, and they stand there. I've done some research on this. They stand there and they say this. They say, it's very complex being rich because you have to worry about fashion, you have to worry about what you look like, and so they stand before this room that has a ton of clothes in it and a bunch of shoes, and they say this, I don't have anything to wear tonight. I know, it's crazy. And then the husband, he's in this other room, like kind of a big, big room. It's almost like a house, and they have it like not one car. I know, they have a car. They have two cars, and he's in the garage, and he'll look at both cars, and he goes, and they work perfectly fine. They get him to where he wants to go and where she wants to go. And then he says, I think I need to get a new one of these. And so they will turn in a perfectly good car and get another car. I know, it's crazy. Extremely complex to be rich. Here's the problem. We in America are rich, but we don't feel rich. That's why if I ask you the question, Paul, are you talking to us? Are you talking to me? And we would all say, no, that's not for me. Command those who are rich. Have a conversation with rich people. And all of us would say, oh, that's not for me. I don't need to listen to this sermon because I'm not rich. Why don't we think we're rich? Because we don't feel rich. The Gallup organization did a study, and they asked people who had $30,000, made $30,000 a year, and said, are you rich? And they said, no, I'm not rich. What is rich? And every person who made $30,000 and less said, if I had $74,000 or made at least $70,000, that would be rich. I would be rich. So then Gallup went out and asked the people who made between $30,000 and $50,000 and said, are you rich? And they said, no, I'm not rich. How much is rich? If I made $100,000 a year, I would be golden. I am rich. So they went and asked the people who make $100,000 to $125,000 a year and said, are you rich? And they said, rich? School bills, kids, my college bills, insurance, health insurance, housing. We just bought a house. We're not rich. So they would ask them, well, what's rich? Every single group that they asked always doubled the amount. And they said the group that had twice the amount of money that I have is rich. So the people that made $100,000 to $125,000, they said, no, rich people are people who make at least $250,000 a year, $250,000. They're rich. So guess what? Gallup went and asked people who made $250,000 a year, $250,000 a year, and asked them, are you rich? And they said, no way, I'm not rich. I know somebody who is rich. And they said, well, how much? How much is rich? Guess what? Somebody who's making at least $500,000 a year, they're rich. And they kept going. And guess what? They went all the way up to people who made $2.5 million a year and asked them, Are you rich? People making 2.5, all right, mil. Are you rich? And they said, guess what? No way, I'm not rich. After all my taxes and all the things that I have running and doing. Well, what is rich? Somebody who makes $5 million. They're rich. And guess what? I think if they asked people who made 5 million, are you rich? They would say, no, I'm not rich. It's somebody making 10, and so on and so on. Here's the problem. Rich is a moving target. Rich is a moving target. And the reason why you and I don't feel rich, or we'll never say we're rich, is because we don't feel rich. Because we have extra, and in our society, we're told to spend it, get it, buy it, and leverage ourselves to a hilt. And so we've learned that if we make 50,000, we spend all 50. If we make 100, we spend all 100, and we never feel rich. Somebody who makes 200,000, are you rich? No, and they spend all $200,000. We just end up buying more and more expensive things the more we get. So it's a moving target. And here's the problem. This is why this is so important. That Paul is saying, Timothy, talk to them. Command those who are rich on how to be rich. They don't know how to be rich, and they are rich. Just to confirm this with you and with everybody, there's a famous story that Bill Gates, Bill Gates with Microsoft, one of the wealthiest people in the world. He went to India, and he was in this little village, and he and his wife have done a lot of things to help the poor and AIDS and the problem in the world. And so he's in India in a little village talking to this very, very poor woman who has nothing, living in a village, living in a little hut. And he's sitting there and he's talking to her. And they finished the conversation and they left. And then the interpreter said, do you know who that was? And she was like, no, I have no idea. She said, well, that's Bill Gates, one of the wealthiest, richest men in the world. And she responded by saying, everybody from the West is rich. In other words, you and I are in the same category as Bill Gates, as one of the wealthiest people in the world. So command those who are rich on how to be rich. And so then he goes on in the passage and he says this. He says to all of us, okay, well, let me help you out with this. Command them to do, therefore, how do we be rich? Here we go. Command them to do good, to be rich, first thing, in good deeds. In other words, with the deeds that we have, the things that we do. You see, wealthy people have extra. You see, I don't know if you've heard of this, but wealthy people, I know this might not be you, but here in America, a lot of wealthy people, they work 5 days a week and get 2 days off and have enough money to live on Saturday and Sunday on those 2 extra days. You see, people around the world, they have to work that day and they make about $2 a day on average. And if they don't work that day, they don't eat that night. Did you know that if you make $37,000 a year, you are in the 4th percentile of wealth in the world? Did you know that? Pat yourself on the back. If you're making $37,000, you are 96% wealthier than all the other people in the world. If you are making $48,000 as an average income, you are in the 1st percentile of wealth in the world. The average person in the world makes $2 a day. And they need to work that day, and whatever they sell that day is the money that they have to go and buy food, and then that's their dinner for that night. And if they don't work that day, they don't eat that night. That's how the world works. So for all of us, I hope we begin to realize, and I hope you realize that you're rich. Let's just get used to saying it. I'm rich. Let's just say it. I know it's hard for you to say that. You don't feel rich, but let's just say it. Hi, my name is Andy and I'm rich. Say your name. Hi, my name is, and I'm rich. Let's just say it. I'm rich. One more time. I'm rich. So the next time your kids ask you, hey, mommy, daddy, am I rich? You can answer your kids, say, son, daughter, you're rich. You're very, very wealthy. And rich people have this. they have the complexity of life. It's very difficult being rich. You see, when they have those 2 extra days off, they don't know what to do with their time. They're like, do we go to the movies? Do we go out and eat? And, do we have to travel with the kids to a soccer game somewhere? I mean, there's a lot of complexity in being rich because they have extra time and they're trying to figure that out. And here's what's amazing also. Rich people, you may have heard this. They have this thing, and you may not have heard of it. It's called a vacation. Companies will pay people to take time off and continue to pay for their salary while they take their time off. I know it's crazy, you may not have heard this before. And they get paid, and then they have a problem. It's very complex being rich. What are we gonna do for that 1, 2, or 3 weeks that we have off go on vacation? So they plan, and they have a thing called points on their credit cards, and they can get flights, and they can do whatever, and they find a vacation spot. And these rich people, I don't know if you know this, they go on a vacation and they fight the whole time. I know, they're like, we didn't know what to do with our time. And so they went somewhere very expensive and they fought the whole time. I know it's crazy, it's called vacation. Paul says this, command them to do good. Do good with your extra. That's what rich people do. They take their extra time and serve others. You see, rich people don't need to learn to be selfish. That comes naturally. We also know this just from stats, that the wealthier that you and I are, or rich people get, the less they give of their time and their money. The poorer somebody is, the more generous they are. The richer somebody is, the less they give. So Paul is saying to Timothy, command those who are rich to do good. We want to encourage all of you, all of us, what we're going to do in the month of November is to do good acts of deeds. I don't know if that's a good phrase, but we're going to show love. We're going to be for our community. We're going to do good. We're going to do acts of service to people. And he said, that is one thing that we need to figure out what to do. That we need to give our time to those who are less needy because rich people have extra time. And then he says, and he finishes, and be generous and willing to share. Be generous and willing to share. You see, rich people don't know how to share. We think it's all for us and we consume it all for us. So teach the rich people out there to be generous with the extra that they have. When you were a little kid and you had an extra cookie at school and your best friend didn't have a cookie and you had 2 cookies and your best friend didn't have a cookie, what did your mom and dad teach you? What's the word? Share. Share, exactly. The reason why rich people have extra and you have extra and I have extra, it is to share. So be generous in good deeds and be generous with the extra that we have. Give to those who are less needy, those who are in need, those who do not have as much as you have. That is what rich people do. That's what rich people do because they have extra time and extra money. And so God wants to teach this lesson for all of us. And so this is a season, the month of November, we are learning to be rich. That's why we entitled the entire month, Be Rich. We're gonna put this into practice. We're not just gonna have theory, but we're actually going to do it. So the first thing that I want to ask everybody to do is click on this link below, go to our website, and click on Be Rich. Be Rich. First thing we're asking you to do, we want everybody to serve next weekend, November 14. We are going to cancel church in the morning. Hang on, we're going to cancel church in the morning, and the entire church is going to serve at the half marathon at Zuma Beach. We have a big tent. We got a ton of giveaway. We want everybody to wear the t-shirt for Malibu, hashtag for Malibu. We want everybody to know that the local church is for them, that God is for them. So we are going to do church at Zuma Beach as a community and serving together the people who are just walking along, the families who are there cheering for their relatives or friend or husband or wife who's running in the Malibu race. We want to encourage people to run in the race, and we just want to serve our community, because for too long the church has been known for what they're against. It's time that people know that church, that God is for them. So we are for Malibu. So go online, sign up to serve for next weekend, and we're going to practice 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 17, to be rich in good deeds. We're going to love our community. The second thing I'm going to ask you to do right now, we're going to give it a shot on being generous. We're going to practice being rich, because you're rich, I'm rich. If we're Americans, we're rich. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is to go to the website. I'm going to ask you to pull out our app if you want, the Malibu Plus app. Whatever way you want to give, you can send in the check if you want. Click on this link below. And we want everybody right now, we're going to do it in this moment, we're going to practice being rich. I want everybody to give $39.95 for Be Rich. Click on the button Be Rich and give right now $39.95. And all of this money is going to go to pay for a Thanksgiving meal for a family who doesn't have a meal for this Thanksgiving. 100% of this money, I hope we raise thousands of dollars. We vetted the missions partners that we're partnering with to give this money away, and 100% of our giving is going directly to our missions partners to pay for a meal for Thanksgiving. $39.95 pays for a meal. So right now, practice doing it. Get your phones out, get your computer out, go online, go to our app, whatever way you want to do it, send a check, $39.95. Now, this is what people ask me, Andy, $39.95, that's not very much. I'd like to pay for 2 meals and 2 families. Can you do that? Is that allowed? The answer is yes, you can give more. And you're like, you know what? I don't have $39.95. Can I give $20? Absolutely, give $20. $39.95 is just a number. And we know that number pays for a turkey and some food, and we'll be able to feed a family. But we're asking everybody at Malibu Pacific Church, we just realized today that we're rich. This is good news, isn't it? And rich people are generous with their good deeds and generous with their extra money. We have extra. The only issue is where we're choosing to spend it. Today, we're choosing to spend our extra to give it to somebody else. That's how rich people act. Not good people, we're all good people, but we want to be extravagant in our generosity. In doing 1 Timothy 6:17, we're learning to be rich. So let's do it right now. Sign up and give $39.95, and we look forward to seeing all of you at Zuma Beach as we serve our community and give our time to people that we don't know, but we're going to love our community and let them know that God is for them. And Malibu Pacific Church loves them. And as God has loved us, we're loving the people around us. We are for Malibu and for people. All right, looking forward to seeing what the number is next week as we celebrate on how much money was given and how much we're going to give away. God bless, and we'll see you next week.
reaching the near and far. No force of hell can stop your beauty changing hearts. You made us for much more than this. Awake the kingdom seed in us. Fill us with the strength and love of Christ. We are your church. We need your power.